and Ray Chung for Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you. These roadshows are inspired by the dedicated, committed Wellingtonians who want to represent you and ratepayer interests, who want real change and true fiscal responsibility. Independent Together is a ticket of like-minded candidates standing in this year's local body elections. We are not politicians. We have community interests at heart. We stand for affordable rates, responsible spending, safer streets, access brings business, and no party politics. We stand for maintaining community infrastructure. We believe in strong local communities. We do not believe in ideology trampling citizens into submission or virtue signalling costing millions. We are real people advocating rational change. Our central pillar and headline grabber is zero rates increase. Ray Chung has framed criticism of council purchasing land on the Miramar Peninsula in terms of cost and liability for the ratepayer. If it fails this test, then it should be an automatic no. That is how zero rates increase works at the council table. If decisions are not about getting back to basics, then it should be no. Andrew Little has acknowledged he is a political party man who will likely put the party first, not ordinary Wellingtonian ratepayers struggling with bills. His first two policy announcements were increased transport subsidies and enhanced pay equity claims for librarians. Little wants more reviews, more impact statements, more bureaucracy, more expenditure. These policies and actions will only increase rates, continue economic stagnation and population degrowth in an unaffordable city. Recently, a councillor reinforced the Labour Greens Party political policy of 16-year-olds voting and standing for council. Party-affiliated councillors are now advocating for reverse mortgages for ratepayers funded by ratepayers. $500,000 has been approved by council to set up this quasi-bank. Wellington City Council is now involved in the banking sector when they are incapable of negotiating basic infrastructure contracts, incapable of maintaining internal efficiencies and outcomes for ratepayers. To get real change, vote Ray Chung for Mayor, vote Independent Together candidates, so rational and competent people can control the council table, control the expenditure, and get council operations back to being boring again. No more $2.3 million toilets that light up with pretty colours. Zero rates increase has support from the coalition government who advocate for a rates cap and also rationalisation of the regional councils into local government. Independent Together candidates standing firm on zero rates increase have led the charge on behalf of ratepayers. Yes, we can have zero rates increase. Yes, it is possible. It is party political interests and the council bureaucratic establishment that prevents the top-down accounting required to relieve the ratepayer, stimulate the economy, and get our city thriving again. Zero rates increase is not only possible, it is the future of our city. Wanganui have just achieved a 2.2% rates increase. Leading Wellington business people endorse zero rates increase. Louise Tong of Infratil has backed up this policy pillar by finding up to $2.8 billion in council savings in the long-term plan. Vastly experienced business and infrastructure leader Paul Ridley-Smith has rightly pointed out the optimal solution to well-being and economic stimulus is affordable rates, money in your back pocket. To get a thriving city, first you make it affordable so the mass of the population can participate, not stay at home wondering how they will pay the power bill, let alone the rates. Well-known journalist Yvonne van Dongen said, "I would trust Ray Chung with my firstborn." Ray Chung is indeed the people's mayor. Ray advocates for the simple, effective, independent together pillars of zero rates increase, back to basics, no party politics, access brings business, a safer city. So let me briefly introduce to you the real deal, Honest Ray Chung. Honest Ray Chung. And now we'll introduce independent together candidates. First up is dynamic businesswoman, passionate about our city, our Southern Belle, Paula Mueller. Paula Mueller.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming here this evening. My name's Paula Mueller, and I'm running in the Southern Ward, as you all know, Paekawakawa. I'm born and bred in Island Bay, and I'm very, very proud to be a Wellingtonian. I'm of Italian heritage. Both my parents are Italian, and over the years, we were brought up in business, and having business acumen and skills, excuse my French, Italian. We're brought up with the values of integrity, honesty, transparency, determination, hard-working business ethics, and having that business acumen. My background is I worked at Hotel Raphael, which was a family business, for 15 years, managing 85 staff, and then I went on to property management, and now I'm at Harcourts, where I listen to the requirements of people every day about how hard it is for them with the cost of living and the rate increases, the constant rate increases. I mean, we've had like 245% rate increase from 2016 to 2017, and it's simply unsustainable. So people are having to move out of Wellington. You know, you're hearing this every day from people, and my job as a real estate agent. Also, negotiation is one of my strong points. We stand together, this team. We've got a great set of skills around this in this team. So we bring together common sense, a pragmatic approach, and we want to represent you, the people of Wellington. Your voice is important to us. We don't want to follow party politics. We don't want any ideological pet projects. We've spent millions and millions of dollars, wasteful ratepayers' money, and the social housing, for example, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. Everywhere else, that's a central government issue. So you're paying twice with the tax and the rates. So there's a lot of things we could trim. We're not necessarily saying we do have concerns for the homeless, and that should be addressed. But there are a lot of issues that the current council haven't addressed, and planning and strategy just haven't played a big part around the table. For example, the Thorndon Quay. Who builds a house and you don't lay the foundations first? So they built the cycleways, then they realise they need to rip up the pipes because they're leaking, and then they rip it up again because there's another leak, costing millions and millions of dollars. So it's not what money well spent. So we want to get back to basics. We want to make your dollar work for you and make it count. and make sure that we're doing the best for you. And we want you to be consulted, not merely tick a box like they did in Cobham Drive, with 94% people opposing, and then we're going to do it anyway. So we want your voice to be heard, and that's why party politics should not play a role in local body elections. Because it's a dirty fight, it's a real dirty fight, and we should be focusing on the priorities for Wellington. We've got so many issues. This was a city, I'm passionate about Wellington, I've been involved in a number of events over the years, and this is a city that we used to all be proud of. We had events, we had clean, safe streets. You know, we need to bring it back, and we're the team here that can do that for you. So we want your vote around that. We can't do it by ourselves. So as a team, we've got the numbers around the table to make some serious change. We need accessibility for business, bring back free car parking in the weekend and at nights so people come back into the city. And we want to make your voice heard around the table. So vote 1 for Southern Ward for Paul and Muley. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce our 2 candidates for our Lambton Ward, starting with intrepid techie entrepreneur Dan Millwood. Dan Millwood.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. So, Dan Millwood's the name. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and I'm a proud business owner. I've been running tech companies and startups in Wellington for over 20 years. My products have been used by millions of kids around the world to improve their learning outcomes. And last year, we licensed our technology to the University of Chicago, which has freed me up to focus on something else that I love, Wellington. Hey. So one of the benefits of owning my own business was I got to do a bit of travel, got to visit some cool cities around the world, but no matter where I was, I always looked forward to coming back home to Wellington the most. It's always been my coolest little capital. But something's changed. The city doesn't feel safe anymore, and access to the capital has been compromised. People in the suburbs are choosing to spend their hard-earned money in other cities, like the Hutt and Porirua, and our pensioners are concerned that they're going to be forced to sell the family home because they can't afford to keep up with the rate increases any longer. These are just some of the issues that I think the people of Wellington should be most concerned about. Safer cities, better access for everyone, no matter their mode of transport, and an affordable Wellington. Yeah. You tell me, is that too much to ask? Yes. So, yeah, I've been working in, like I said, startup space for over 2 decades. I know how to make great products at a tiny budget. If I'm elected, Wellingtonians can be confident that at least one person around the council table is going to treat every dollar like it really matters. My name's Dan Millwood. Vote for me. Number 1 in the Lambton Ward. Number 2. For my name here, Stuart Wall. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. And now the energizer, the man on the ground, Stuart Wong. Stuart Wong.
Right. Thanks for the intro. I'm your candidate for this Lambton Ward. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's our finale, so we're going to make it a good one. It's fantastic to see everybody here. friends, business associate, and even my 2 young kids are here. They come support their dad. Anyway, the support tonight shows me and tells me that you all care about your city. I'm a 2nd generation Kiwi-born Chinese. I'm the eldest of 4 siblings. My parents immigrated from China 80 years ago. My father was a market gardener, then he became a greengrocer. Originally, I was from the Hutt Valley. I completed Victoria University and followed my father's footsteps into his business. Despite his lack of English, he was a very hard-working and a very successful and astute businessman. Now, I have a teenage family living in this lovely city in our Lambton ward. I spent the last 10 years with Moana, New Zealand as their sales administrator. I work closely with the seafood department at Moore Wilson's in Torrey Street. Now, I've seen a lot of changes to the city. I learnt all my business skills from my father, eventually taking over when he retired. I've been in business on my own for the past 40 years. I learnt leadership skills, how to handle money, budgeting, managing people, and the power of negotiation. I can bring all of these attributes to the council table. Now, running a council is like running a business. I can bring governance, accountability, and transparency. And with our new team, I can't do it on my own. If our new team's elected, we will do all this. We will consult the stakeholders, who are the people of this city. We will work for you. We don't work for political parties. We are all independent, professional people. Most of us are successful and want to share our skills to put the city on the right path. Over the past decade, the city seems to have derailed. Important and basic functions of the council have shifted to ideology. Water, roading, lighting, security, and accessibility to the major parts of the city have all been neglected. We want to change this. I can go on forever talking about these subjects, like the Courtenay Place, the Lambton Quay, Golden Mile, Thorndon Quay. I know, I won't, do it another time. But anyway, businesses have suffered horrendous rises in running a business, the loss of parking, compliance and building consent, the cost of skyrocketed. Anyway, I could go on forever, but I won't. Our city's not safe. How many rough sleepers have you seen today? Maybe not tonight, it's raining, but toward the weekend. Courtenay Place is a stomping ground for them. The city has their own social problems, and which is fueling the decline in business in the city. We will work with central government and hand this problem back to them. It's not the city's problem. A big topic which we're all concerned about, zero rates increase. Most of us are ratepayers, own a home, and some of them fortunate enough own commercial property as investments. We cannot carry on paying our increases in the rates to fund projects that do not benefit and improve the current situation. I can't afford my rates this year if they've gone up. I don't know about you, sir. I don't know, can you afford yours? Probably not, no. Anyway, my income hasn't gone up, nor has anybody else's. So, let's get this council, hopefully you newly elected people, in running it and bringing it back to basics. If you care as much as I do, you wouldn't be here. I'm here, I don't want to waste my time, your time. We're here to do a job. We're all busy people. Give us a go, vote in the new council, let us work for you. We can make Wellington an even better place to live, to work and play in. Vote independent together. Vote Stuart Wong number 1, my colleague Dan Millwood number 2. Don't forget my slogan. Don't go wrong, vote Stuart Wong. Thank you very much.
we've got local champion, community focused, Ken Alcoy. Ken Alcoy.
Talofa lava, my name is Ken Alcoy. It's not safe anymore. I can't take my kids. It's not safe to walk down the street at night. I can't trust my teenager sons to go out in town because they might, there's a lot of people that hang around the ATM machines. So there are problems around here. We need to solve those problems to make us come back to the city, make more business come back to the city, because some people are sleep roughly on the streets. So what can I bring to the table? Well, my name is Ken Alcoy, and some people say that I'm not Samoan. Yeah, well, I am Samoan, but the last name is a bit part Chinese. So Alcoy is Chinese, and my great-grandfather is from China. He came from China, went to Samoa during the time Samoa was under German. Samoa was under German, and it was called German Samoa in 1900s. And for 14 years until New Zealand came and took over from China, and so Samoa was under New Zealand at the time. And they signed a treaty of the friendship between Samoa and New Zealand. So I was brought up in Samoa, but I was sent here by my parents to work. I came on a work visa for Auckland to work somewhere in a factory, but I didn't work. I came down here, attended university because I wanted to study. So I studied in Victoria University and got my Bachelor of Science in chemistry. And I wanted to teach because I wanted to improve my English so I can do public speaking. I hope I'm doing a good service tonight on that. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I taught for 10 years, teaching chemistry and maths and science, secondary school level, and I had enough. I wanted a challenge, another challenge. So I worked for ERO, Education Review Office, for about 2 years as a reviewer. Again, I need another challenge, so I did law. I studied law at Victoria University and got my bachelor law degree, and I've been a lawyer for about 20 years. And now I'm running my law firm in Wellington, Burnie, serving the Eastern Ward, providing legal services with my wife. So law firm there for about 7 years now, running our own. So that's my background. And I also do a lot of community work. So what I'll bring to the table, I bring a lot of governance skills and community work and business. That includes being a vice president for the Wellington Rugby Union. I've got some of my rugby union friends here. And also I've been still a vice president for the famous rugby club around here, the Eastern Ward Marathon Pats. So I'm still there. And also I'm a Pacific advisor in the newly formed Sports Integrity Commission, which is a new one, and I'm one of the Pacific advisor to that commission. So that's what I'm going to bring to the table. We need strong leadership, strong governance at the table. And like the saying goes, if you're not around the table, you're on the menu. And ratepayers have been on the menu for a long time under this. So hopefully we're not on the menu, we're going to be on the table. We can't pay a system from the outside, we've got to be on there. So please vote for us, and we'll do that. Just lastly, because we're from, me and my colleague Michelle are standing in the Eastern Ward, so remember our faces, and she'll speak for herself. But one of the issues down Miramar, it's a Miramar Peninsula, Miramar Matai Moana. So that's an issue at the moment. The current council just approved an LTP $750,000 a year, up to $1 million a year for 5 years to run that. So what I can tell you, that land there, it's under limits. It's still a crown land. Why is the council doing it? why is the council interfering with that? We propose to leave that land with the lens and move it to the Department of Conservation, and we can run it. Otherwise, we're wasting taxpayers' money running that. But there's a lot of people that can volunteer to put a lot of things on that land and work with the community. So, thank you for listening. Vote number 1 for Ken. Vote number 2 for my colleague here, Michelle. Thank you for
Fabulous business professional, Michelle Maguire. Michelle Maguire.
Hi, I'm Michelle Maguire, and I'm also running in the Eastern Ward, Matu Kaiangi. So I am obviously running alongside Ken, and I'm feeling very privileged to do that. I think he brings a lot to our table, and it's going to be a great council if we can get everybody in. So me, I'm born and bred in the Eastern Ward. This is where my family has called home for 4 generations. I'm the 3rd generation. I have 3 children. I would love for them to, I would love my children to be able to afford to buy a house one day, or at least be able to afford to live in Wellington. So I am, so I'm a business owner. I've spent 25 years in the construction industry. So I've spent 25 years in the construction industry. 12 of those I've owned my own business. I've also spent 15 years in the distribution industry. I started my own businesses, managing the Independent Herald and the Cook Strait News, and also delivering for Low & Co Real Estate. So I bring to the table, obviously, work ethic and business acumen. Obviously a lot of other things like common sense. So ladies and gentlemen, I've been complaining about this council for quite some time. However, the shape of our city at the moment is the reason I've decided to stand. I've had a frustration like everybody else. Most people are leaving, more people are leaving than staying. Businesses are struggling. The council rates are unaffordable. Tonight, you're going to be hearing about our financials and what our team is going to be doing about it to help you all and ourselves. If you want lower rates, if you want more money in your pocket, you need to vote for Independent Together and like-minded candidates. If you want a council that has if you want a council bureaucracy smaller than the size of Switzerland, then we are the people to do it for you. I'll make this pretty short and sweet. Let myself and Ken represent your interests at the table in the Eastern Ward. Let us together work to keep our local assets strong and create a council that will allow our city to attract commerce and grow. Everybody here tonight is here because they need a change, and our group is here because we want to make that change. So, can you please vote for Michelle for Eastern Ward number 1 and Ken for number 2.
Ultimate tradie, merchant of entertainment, and straight talker, Guy Nuns. Guy Nuns.
Sorry, the lights are quite bright here, so I might be moving around a little bit. Bigger again, that's my sister. Last week, being a builder, I'm using my hands all the time. I was holding an impact driver, putting screws into a deck for several days in a row, and after a period I found my hand was just starting to, and I slept maybe slightly wrongly on it, and I woke up in the morning and it was like this, and I actually couldn't shut it up without really hurting it. And so I thought, well, it might come right by itself. So I'll just leave it for a few days and I'll just not go so hard with the work. So I got a contact for a physio in Newtown, and I rang them up yesterday and I arranged an appointment for 11 o'clock today. And so I go in there in a little bit of a hurry because I'd been to a council meeting discussing nominations, left that slightly early to get to the appointment. I go in there, it's Healing Hands is the name of the business. That's the business I'd arranged the appointment with. And I get to the counter and the lady says to me, "Oh, hello sir, what's your name? Have you got an appointment?" I says, "Yes, I made it for 11 o'clock. And she says, "Oh, I can't see it here. What was your name again?" I said, "Guy Nuns." "No, it's not on here." So I reached for my phone and I opened it. I said, "Here, look. Healing Hands. I made the phone call yesterday. Here's the number, 0061. That's Newtown, Sydney. Sorry. I want to tell you a story. Now,
That is a story.
yeah, this is going to be a better one. Right? This is going to be a better one. This is going to be more relevant to all of you. In the year 2000, it's sounding like an odyssey at this point. In the year 2000, I left Elmer's Mower Centre to take up building. And those of you who were aware of that time will know that was when the leaky building crisis had hit New Zealand. Now, I was briefly in the employ of a civil contractor for 6 months, and then I did 9 months with another guy, 9 months with a third person, and then I was out on my own. And I think it's a little bit arrogant to say that I'm self-taught, but I certainly was responsible for a lot of self-learning. And I came up with this mantra with respect to building. Now, I'm maybe 35, 36 at the time, so I've got a few years behind me and a little bit of experience, life experience. So I've actually come up with this mantra. New Zealand is a cold, wet climate. It has a cold, wet climate. And so a builder, anyone who constructs, must therefore mitigate for water on the house, water under the house, and water in the house. Pretty easy. You will be very unlucky if you ever suffer a house falling over an earthquake. You will be even more unlucky if your house burns to the ground. But water is an everyday hazard to your house. Now, it just so happens I have this very good friend, John, and he's a well-retired builder now. He'd be into his 80s easily, lives in Wellington City. He did a building apprenticeship and then went on to become a council inspector. One day we're talking together and he says, "Guy Nuns," because that's my name and I'm standing for the Western Ward. He says, "Guy, 3 things I learnt when I was an apprentice. 3 things. Umbrella, umbrella, umbrella." What a magnificent sign from the universe to me that I had divined or intuited something so well. To me, to this day, it's just fantastic. Now, the purpose of this story isn't to tell you how good I am at intuiting things. It's to tell you that something similar has gone wrong with our council. Just as the building industry lost complete idea of what building was about and their core business, so too Wellington City Council has lost all idea of what its core business is. Can you hear me down the back? What about an amen? When my father passed and we had the funeral at St Mary's the Oaks, about 700 people showed up. He was known as the Mayor of Cuba Street. And my mum's in the front, and I was about 25 minutes into the eulogy, and she's just down the front, so, you've got to get this out, and I can hear her, but maybe the rest of the congregation can't. I said, Mum, we're paying late fees at the cemetery. I want to say this to you. At the beginning of this campaign, 6 months ago even, I was thinking, I'm going to stand for council. I'm a builder, I'm a mechanic, I've been to Victoria University. I have some skills that these people could use. And there aren't people in council who seem to have some of the skills that I have. And one of the things I've got is common sense. And that seems to be something that our team has in common too. We are going to take this council with your efforts, but only with your efforts. If you vote for us, that's not going to be enough. You need to be speaking to every single person you know, and you say, I've met this person, I trust their integrity, they've got what it takes, I want them representing me in council. And when you get your voting forms, you're going to go vote Guy Nuns number 1, Ray Chung number 2, and nobody else on the list. You do not vote for anybody you do not want. Okay? Thank you very much. I'm Guy Nuns.
And now we come to our keynote speaker. Andrea Compton talks to you on zero rates increase.
I have 3 requirements when using a public toilet: accessible, functional, and safe. What? What I don't require is a twinkle when I tinkle. I don't require the bathroom to be lit up, drawing attention to the fact that nature is called. I certainly don't require $2.3 million being spent on a toilet when we have people skipping meals to pay for their rates. Monuments are lit up across the world, including the Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty, and the London Eye. But here in Wellington, it's a toilet block. A $2.3 million toilet block. This is not about the need for toilets. This is just another example of the council playing fast and loose with your money. Last year it was reported that at the current rate of replacement, it would take over 6,000 years to replace our ageing pipes. Water is a fundamental right for our citizens, not a lavatory and lights. We need to stack our council with engineers who understand infrastructure and prioritise needs over wants, along with competent commercial professionals who will get the best deal for you. How do I know this? Well, I'm a chartered accountant with 20 years experience in construction and infrastructure. I was the finance manager for Transmission Gully. I know what I am doing.
Or not doing.
I am Andrea Compton and I'm running in the Northern Ward at the upcoming elections. Independent Together have an incredible team of diverse experience who want to serve you and ensure current and future generations can afford to live here. I'm speaking tonight about Independent Together's most important pillar, zero rates increases. Everyone's talking about it and some saying it can't be done. So my question to the doubters is, are you happy with a 20% rates increase? Since 2021, your rates have increased by 85%. Since 2016-17, they've risen by a staggering 245%. Incomes have not risen by this rate. Our message is a core difference from others who are still offering bribes like free public transport.
We are not tax and spend more of your money. How about commercial thinking that you would normally see in private sector coupled with social good? We want commerce to thrive in Wellington and do the heavy lifting, not the ratepayer. Let me take you through some facts and figures. For a property of approximately 700,000, you were paying 1,500 year in rates in 2020. By 2034, it's going to be 7,800 a year. For a $1.2 million property, you were paying 3,200. It's going to be 12,000 a year by 2034. And for a $2.3 million property, you were paying 5,400. It's going to be $23,000 a year by 2034. Operating costs have doubled from 400 million to 800 million since 2019. Debt has risen by 944 million. It's going to be $2.1 billion by next June. Interest payments, 1.2 million a week is on servicing these loans, projected to rise to 2 million. That might not mean much. If we say Wellington has 200,000 residents and 80,000 units, 2 million a week equates to $520 per person per year, or $1,300 per household just on interest. The most compassionate thing we can do for our community is limit rates increases. We get a lot of questions on what we will cut, what services will be cut. As has been said, 2.8 billion of savings was found without much effort, and we have a good idea of the sorts of things our city can save money on. We won't offer specific promises, as each of us would only represent one vote around the table. But collectively, as a majority in council, we can achieve huge savings and better value for money. So let's discuss the levers, not what, but how. The first thing we will do is remodel growth predictions. Initially, this council had projected growth of approximately 80,000 people, was then quietly reduced to 50,000 and now sits at 30,000 increase by 2034. We are planning, building and paying for a city that's going to have a 15% growth in 10 years. At the last census, Wellington was the only urban centre in New Zealand with a decline in growth. The only other place in New Zealand with a decline in growth was the Chatham Islands. So I ask, who is coming? Those rate increases I mentioned earlier are after the 30,000 come. So when they don't come, your rates will go up higher. Furthermore, within the census data, it has also showed the growing age bracket in Wellington is the over 65s. This age group has different requirements, mainly around accessibility, and that deserves respect. The growth modelling needs to be independently remodelled and factored into future decisions for our communities. The second lever. What is the true picture of council activities? Assumptions are hidden within documents, terminology is unclear, there are hundreds of documents with hundreds of pages, pictures, words and spreadsheets, and it's a jungle of information. A line-by-line audit to understand the detail of where our money is going and the various financial treatments being applied, such as depreciation and capital funding. Make it clear and transparent the exact state of our affairs. Our third lever. The central government today has indicated that changes are coming to the Local Government Act to remove references to community wellbeing, social, economic, environmental and cultural, and get councils to stick to the basics. The current programs of work need to be understood and question whether these programs represent value for money versus necessary critical infrastructure needs. As a council, we would ask our CEO to compile a list of all the services the council provides. Each service would then need to be researched and understood if this service is currently being provided by central government or private enterprise, with the intention of removing all duplicate services. The fourth lever. How do we know we're getting value for money and providing services in the most efficient manner compared to other councils of similar size? We would instruct the CEO to begin researching like-sized councils such as Hamilton and Christchurch against the remaining services which our council would be providing. We would learn what they're doing for their communities and at what cost. Learn from the findings and implement those changes where the community agrees. Our fifth lever, top-down budgeting. Currently, the long-term plan and annual plans are built through bottom-up budgeting, a wish list of everything the council wants to do. Once the core services are established, budgeting would move to top-down, exactly the same as you do in your households when you look at your income and what you want to spend your money on. We can't demand double-digit increases from our employers every year. Priorities would be assigned to expenditure and we'd run a ruler through once that limit is met. It's a very common strategy all over the world, but seems to be lost on our current council. And the sixth lever we have is increasing revenue. We need to investigate alternative forms of funding. Ratepayers are not the only source of revenue. There is government regional deals, private capital, selling of non-income generating assets such as vacant properties and road reserves, enable the setup of a capital investment fund, review development contributions. These ideas do not require the sale of income generating assets. Wanganui Mayor Andrew Tripe campaigned in 2022 for lower rates increases for their city. He said his council not only kept up with core services but had increased infrastructure spending by 11% compared to the prior year. All we have done is be more efficient with what we've got, doing more for less. Tripe reiterated the cost-saving cuts, apart from a minor change to library opening hours, were not made to council facilities. He said his advice to other councils was to stop making excuses and come up with a solid plan. I've got a saying, no result plus a good excuse still equals no result. For me, don't make excuses, get on with it and put a very, very solid plan together. He had a 6-point plan contributing to keeping his rates low. And his 6-point plan was population growth, improving efficiency, alternative funding, cutting on non-essential services, selling assets and identifying non-rates revenue. Sound familiar? A collaborative council of like-minded professionals that are community-focused individuals. Their latest LTP had an increase of only 2.2%, the lowest in Australasia. It can be done. We are good people. It's no wonder good people don't stand up to be in council. A mistake was made, and all the while the sanctimonious opposition, all while their policies are what are currently causing our city to decay.
Yes.
We heal in community, and that's what we have here. Strong pillars of change and a complete clean out in council come October. There is a fork in the road. Continue on the current trajectory or choose a different path. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. That's Andrea Compton in Northern Ward. Now we have an endearing video, followed by a short address from Ray Chung, and then the opportunity for questions. And just a note on the questions, could you please keep to a minimum the framing of statements and maximise the question. We have a large audience and we'd like to get as many questions as possible rather than statements. So here is a video. Take it away, Ron.
I love Wellington. I've lived here all my life. I've travelled all over the world with a successful international sales career in the telecommunications industry, but my heart has always remained here in Wellington. It's a place I call home. Dad emigrated from China in the 1940s and met Mum soon after arriving. My brothers and sisters and I were all born in the city. We grew up on Jessie Street. The house is actually still there today. Dad ran a Chinese medicine shop in Torrey Street, specialising in herbal remedies. Growing up in Wellington in the 1960s and 70s was a great place to live. In the 1980s, I met the love of my life, my wife Doreen. We enjoy our life here in the northern suburbs where we care for our West Island white terriers. Our city once had a great international reputation. It was hailed by Lonely Planet as the coolest little capital in the world. Sadly, those days are behind us. There are many things going wrong in the city right now. There are more people leaving Wellington than coming here to live. The local economy is being strangled and businesses are shutting up shop. Property rates are going through the roof. Retirees fear they can no longer afford to live here. Many are concerned that they'll lose their family home. The cost of living is rising fast. It's not just a problem for central government, it's also a problem for local government. And what's our city doing about it? Nothing. Inexperience around the council table allows the spending to continue unabated. Too many councillors are more concerned about pushing causes and ideologies that have no place in council. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. We can change the paradigm. With the right leadership and the right people together, we can make a positive change. We can reduce the debt that the council is binding each and every resident in Wellington to and makes housing unaffordable for the next generation. We can end the wasteful spending by holding the bureaucracy to account. We can get the council back to basics. This means keeping essential services like pools, parks and libraries open and keeping the streets clean. We can remove the barriers that make it difficult for commerce to grow and flourish. We can work to stop the endless rate increases and build a bureaucracy that allows you to keep more money in your own pocket. And most importantly, we can ensure that councillors put the interests of the city and its ratepayers first, not a political party. Party politics should play no role in local government. We need more unity, not division. More common sense, not ideology. I've worked all over the world and seen how many cities are run. I've been responsible for large budgets and ensuring companies stay profitable. We need a new stable direction and a new team that will govern for the people, for those who feel powerless and taken advantage of. We can take our city back and start to lift Wellington out of the debt spiral. This is my commitment to you.
Thanks very much, everyone. I'm really pleased to see so many of you out here tonight. I'd like a special welcome to Louise Tong, who I've been following for a long time. Her guidance and her analytical and financial skills are legendary. I want to do everything that she wants us to do.
What about an honest apology to the mayor?
There's an opportunity for
An apology to the mayor.
So it's been done.
Now, did Alistair say that I was only to make a short speech? Sorry, did Alistair say I was going to make a short speech? I was going to start with the story of my life. I was born 400 metres away. Okay, I'll skip from where I was born 400 metres from here, and I'll go to the last 24 years I spent in my international career. So I worked in 46 countries around the world, starting with Ericsson in China, selling mobile phones. So I've worked on all the continents on Earth apart from Antarctica. And so what I've learned from all these countries is that before I actually do anything, before I set foot out of the hotel, I do a business case for whoever I'm going to see. I do a business case before I get on the plane. I look at what I'm doing. I need to justify everything.
Apologised to the drunk lady already.
Yeah.
He apologised to the drunk lady.
He hasn't apologised to others.
You may want to leave of your own accord. We're not going to continue unless you behave. There will be an opportunity for questions, but we won't put up with abuse. Okay, Ray.
Thanks very much. I'd like to tell you, why am I running for mayor? Why do I actually want to be mayor? The last 3 years I've had in council have been full of spending money, full of spending your money. So many things have absolutely no justification. I'm looking at where our money is going. We don't do business cases. We don't try and get value for money. This is what I want to change. This is what we've got to do if we want to get out of this abyss that we're heading into. So many things. So we talk about 0 rate increases. Our detractors say we can't do it. It can't be done, but it can be done. You've looked at places like Wanganui, 2.2%, but there are other places like that as well. They can manage 2-3%. We can get down to 0. We need a target to aim towards. This is what we actually mean to do. Ask Louise. No, she found $2.8 billion worth of savings in Wellington. So we can do these things. I can't explain all of the things that we actually want to take out because we've got to take it to the CEO first. Then the CEO works out how he's going to do it. Then he works out what jobs he puts those people into. So we can't explain exactly what it is, but many of you have heard the things that I'm opposed to. I'm opposed to the Gold Mile, $212 million for that, and also the City Street program. We don't need to do that. Organic waste. You know, so many cities around the world, so many cities around New Zealand, including Auckland, are canning their organic waste programs because it's just not economical. Sure, we want people not to put these things in the tip. We want you to recycle your organic waste, but we don't need to bring it down every night, take it and put it in a truck, and then drive it up Horowhenua somewhere to an organic recycling plant that we haven't even built yet. That's going to cost another $30 million. There are much, much better ways of doing things. In council, I've always looked for value for money. I've always looked for what we can actually do and cost less. You know, I've looked at things like Begonia House. I've looked at things like the Kandala Pool. I've looked at the Town Hall. We can do all of those things cheaper, but the council just doesn't want to. They just want the gold-plated items everywhere. But we can do these things and save at least half of your money. There are so many projects that we've been digging out a long-term plan that we can actually either shelve or delay for many years because we don't need them at the moment. We need to get back to basics. This is entirely consistent with what the central government are talking about. They're telling us to get back to basics, telling us to focus on the core things. And we will talk with the government. This council doesn't talk to the government because the government doesn't want to talk to us. But we will change that. We will work closely with them. So the things that we actually want to do is we want to focus on the core things we do. We won't touch community projects. We won't touch libraries. There's always a bit of a fear-mongering that whenever we say we want to save some money, council officers will always come out and say, oh, well, we're going to have to close the libraries. They always pick on libraries because they know we love them. So libraries, pools, parks, we'll maintain all those. Community centres, we'll maintain those. If we're not here to maintain community centres, then what are we here for? What are we doing for you? So, always looking for cost-effective solutions. I've suggested many in the council, but in Karori, some of you are Karori residents, you know that 73% of people in Karori objected to the cycle lanes in there and wanted a better way of doing things. I suggested that we take the cycle lane around some of the side streets, not down the main street, where you're closing all the businesses. But what did they tell me? They told me that, oh, cyclists then have to ride an extra block and it'll be too far for them. This is crazy. We're not doing the things that are sensible. We will bring back common sense into this council if you vote us in this year. So, what is our core business? Now, what do you actually want us to do? Everything that we're looking at taking out, we're going to cut services that aren't core council businesses. We will bring them to you to ask you if this is what you want. If this is, and we'll tell you the cost of them. We'll tell you exactly what savings we will make when we cut them out. We shouldn't be doing a lot of these things. We shouldn't be doing things that compete against our ratepayers. Electric car chargers. This is not poor council business. We're competing against our ratepayers. It's absolutely ludicrous. We should only do those things that only the council does. So this is where we want to take it. I want to look at what project you actually want. I want to really listen to people. I want to go out for genuine consultations. We go to consultations here, but do we actually pay any attention to you? I'm the council representative on the Multicultural Council. I'm also the council representative on the Ethnic Advisory Group. So I cover all ethnicities in Wellington. And so everybody wants pretty much the same thing. There are slight differences in what they want, but we don't listen to these other groups. We need to listen to everyone. We need to find out exactly what everyone does. I'm the only councillor who has regular constituent meetings every month. I have 3 meetings a month, and I've had them since I was elected. So it's not because I'm not having them because it's election year, as some people have said. I've been holding them for 3 years. And so I listen to people. I go out talking to people all the time. I talk to people in the street, wherever I see them. I attend all the functions that I've been invited to. And I work 70 to 80 hours a week doing this. But it's because I care about the city. I want the city to thrive again. I don't like where it's going. I don't like to walk down the street and see all these people sleeping in doorways. When I come to work in the morning, I catch the bus in, and instead of getting off in Lambton Quay where I can just walk across the council building, most of the time I come down as far as Manor Street, then I get off the bus and I walk back and I talk to all these people on the street. I try and ask them, what can we actually do for you? Why are you staying here? What can we actually do to make your life better? In the last 3 weeks, I found 3 people from Auckland. I came up to them and I said, look, I haven't seen you guys here before. Are you just new here? Says, oh, we've just moved down from Auckland. I found 3 from Auckland and 2 from Hamilton. Why are they coming down here? So this is, sorry, a short speech. So this is what I want to do. This is my promise to you. If you elect me, I will reduce your rates. I will cut it back. I will save you money. I won't waste any money. This is my promise to you.
Now folks, just a reminder, we're not really after party political statements. We would like questions for our candidates. Yes, madam.
My question is for Mr. Chung. Thank you. I'm really pleased to see on your list that you are I'm very pleased to see on your list that you are approachable and that you are one of the people's concerns. My concern is about something that's just come up, and that's funding in the last week. I see that one of your funders is discussing before. Is that correct?
That's correct. Samantha Knight.
Getting on to my question, and it relates to your lack of judgment that you showed in dealing with
What about rates?
Can we talk on the pillars, please? Can we talk on the pillars?
I'm coming to my question.
Quickly, please.
How are you going to persuade your other funders and indeed voters?
Sit down.
I'll ask your question.
My question is, how are you going to persuade funders and indeed voters that you are a person who does have judgment and can be trusted to show political nous, when obviously you haven't so far?
I'll try to make it really, really clear. That happened a few weeks after I was elected. We'd gone through lots of presentations about how we should have integrity in council, how we should not do anything to embarrass the council.
I'm talking about the last week's.
Yes, all of these things. And so when that happened, I didn't know what to do. And so I asked 3 of my trusted colleagues, the people who I knew way before council for many years, I asked them, I said to them and asked them. And so that is why I sent it out. So that was almost 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago.
That showed lack of judgment.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have sent it out.
Ray's acknowledged that,
but that's
and
what
he's apologised in a video for it. Can we move on? No, you've had your question. Please sit down. Yes, sir. Ray, sit down. Ray. Yes, sir.
Mike, you mentioned earlier that you couldn't be certain what the CEO would do.
Sorry,
you said earlier that as a council, you didn't know what the CEO would do with your money.
Of how the council works, the council table.
Why can't the council tell the bureaucracy what you want done?
Okay, with the last CEO, it was impossible. I tried many times. I put so many requests to the Ombudsman because the council officers weren't giving me the information. I'll give you one quick example with the town hall. We had a blowout of $149 million, huge amount of money. It came to council that day and we had to vote on it that day. The options we were given was you either re-budget an extra $149 million to finish it, or you pay, I think, $85 million to mothball it, or $90 million to do something else with it. And so those were the options we were given. So I asked questions. I said, I want to understand how we actually got here. And so what I want is the monthly project reports for the last year on the town hall. I want to understand what you knew, when you knew about it, and what you did about it. And so the chief operating officer said, fine, I'll get those to you. They're complicated and they're thick, but I'll get them to you. When I didn't receive them the next week, I asked him where they were, when they were coming, and he told me that the CEO said you can't have them. And so I said, why? And said, well, because you've made the vote, you've done the decision. I said, I need those to understand exactly how we got into this position, so we don't do it again.
So Ray,
but I couldn't get
moving
it.
forward, the way it works is you get control of the council table with the mayoral office, and then you get the policy pillars into action. It's possible.
Yeah, so with this new CEO, we have a new CEO.
Yes, madam. Move on, Ray, move on.
Yeah, okay.
Just sit down. Thank you.
I've got a question for Dan. It's kind of two parts. The first part of the question is,